Today's guest is a very, very special one. Helen Flanagan is best known as an actress, model, TV personality, and social media influencer. She started out her acting career at just 10 years old as Rosie Webster on Coronation Street and has been a regular on our TV and phone screens ever since. But to me, Helen is a passionate and dedicated mum who shares the exact same struggles and stresses as the rest of us. 4 years ago, Helen became a Clutter Fairy client, and we've been privileged to help her take control of her life and her home ever since. I think Helen would agree that she is a sharer, so I'm excited to have an open and honest conversation about clutter, ADHD, and the transitions that have happened with her family life.
You're listening to the Declutter Hub podcast, bringing you tried and tested, no-nonsense tips and advice from the leading experts in decluttering and organising your home. Now here's your host, Lesley Spellman.
Hello and welcome, listeners. I'm Lesley. We're delighted you're here to join us as part of your decluttering journey. So whether you're brand new today or have been listening in for ages, we want to say thank you so much for being here. It means so much to Ingrid and I that you turn up every week to listen to and support us while we talk all things decluttering and organising. We'd love to help more people with their quest for a clutter-free home, and our podcast is a fantastic way for people to be inspired to take action. We have a favour to ask. If you like what you hear, be sure to hit the follow, subscribe, or like button on your podcast player. Share us with your friends or share your thoughts on the podcast by leaving a review. Hello, Helen. Welcome to the Declutter Hub podcast. We are so delighted that you're here today. I'm excited because it's been a long time, hasn't it, Helen? Tell us a little bit about how we know each other.
So I've been working with the Clutter Fairies for nearly, is it over 3 years now?
Yeah,
Yes.
like 3 or 4.
Over 3 years. So yeah, I mean, I love the Clutter Fairies. I work with Karen a lot at the moment, don't I? She comes to the house, and yeah, it's just something that I really love. I love my sessions with the Clutter Fairies. It just kind of makes me feel more together, more organised. So yeah, I really, really do. I first got in contact with the Clutter Fairies when I moved house. So the house I've been living in at the moment, I've been here for, I'd say, nearly 4 years, which is quite a big thing for me to live in a house for that amount of time, because when I was with my ex-fiance, he was a footballer, so we moved so much. We were always moving to different cities and always moving house. I actually can't tell you how many houses we lived in together because we just moved house so much together. We lived in Cheshire a few times. We lived in Swansea. We lived in Scotland. We lived in Birmingham. We lived in London. Lived in Bath. We've basically just lived everywhere. London, Scotland, just everywhere. So we would move house for fun, it almost seems. So yeah, when we actually kind of settled finally into our own family house, because we would rent everywhere, you see. So Scott would go to different football clubs and we would rent, and we would just kind of like pack up our stuff and go, basically. So it was really nice really to have finally like a family home, which was nice. I mean, obviously it didn't go how I wanted it to go, but yeah, it's been lovely to have the family home, especially when I moved into the house when Charlie was, I think he was about 3 months old. So it was nice then to have our own family house and not be renting when we had the kids, you know.
I think I remember that very first phone call really from you, and you were like, I'm here, I'm in my kind of forever home, and I just want to sort it out, and I've just got stuff everywhere, and you were sending me pictures of your rooms and like, it's complete chaos, come and help me. So tell us a little bit about what were you feeling at that time? Because I think the thing is, for me, Helen, of course you're an actress, you're a model, you're an influencer, but literally you've got the same stuff going on as everybody else in life, right? But you felt overwhelmed, right? I think is the word that we would use. So how did you feel? Tell us a little bit about your clutter, where it came from, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think I actually packed the house so badly. So it was very sweet, really. My my ex, Scott, he bought me the house that I'm in now as a surprise, because we eventually moved back to the area that I'm from and bought this beautiful house for me as a surprise, which was very sweet. But I don't know, so actually, if it was the right timing, because I recently, Charlie was only about 3 months old. I was struggling postnatally, and I had obviously the two little girls, and I probably needed a little bit more time. And then I think it was like a rush to move into the house in 2 weeks' time. And I was thinking, hang on a minute. So I packed this house up. I don't know how I did it, to be honest. It was ridiculous how I packed. I mean, I couldn't even find a hairbrush. And then basically, we had a removal company, and I just packed really badly and I couldn't find anything. I remember going into school, and one of the school's mum said, Helen, you need, because she could see I was struggling with the three young kids in this house move. So she was like, I found a decluttering service for you called the Clutter Fairies. This will be amazing for you. And then the rest is history. Clutter Fairies come to my house all the time.
I know, exactly. And I think, I think it's fair to say, one of the things that you do need to do sometimes when you are moving house is that kind of pack up needs to be quite intentional. But you just, as you say, you were so struggling for time so much, it was so speedy that all you could do is kind of gather everything, chuck it into a box, and then hope for the best, really.
Yeah, I mean, it was very sweet of my ex to surprise me with this beautiful house, which obviously I love, very much. But it was a surprise, and basically we had to get out of our rented accommodation like really quick, and it was just all very rushed, so I didn't have time to pack properly. And obviously I don't want to badmouth my ex, because we get on well now, but I think he had very high expectations of me to suddenly, I mean, I felt like I had to be Wonder Woman. I had three little kids to be looking after, and then suddenly this massive house move. Obviously it was very sweet that he did the surprise for me, but I think I needed more time really to move.
Yeah.
So it took a while to actually unpack the house, because what we would do is we would go to different football clubs, and we would sometimes just leave things in the garage. And then what we did, it was really nice, what the Clutter Fairies did, is when we did unpack everything, we were able to put things, we really did put a lot to charity as well, which was great. So yeah, it was therapeutic really to kind of feel more organized and more together, especially from renting for so long as well, and not feeling like everything was together. Because when you rent and stuff, you can't do certain things to the house, not everything's your home, where now I have a dressing room and I have, everything's got a place because it's my house. But funnily enough, we're actually selling the house now. But it'd be nice to have a change. I think because I was with Scott for so long as well, like I kind of I'm used to moving house. I don't think I'll now be able to stay somewhere so long. I think I like a change. I love a change.
Right. But I think what you've been able to do with the house, I mean, I can remember, so Katie and I came around to see you, we had a chat, you were talking about, how you were overwhelmed, all this kind of stuff, and what you wanted to do, which was to declutter some stuff. And certainly everything was just a bit of a jumble, and so we needed to start zoning things like, okay, that room's for this purpose, that room's for this purpose. So it was really about getting the right boxes into the right rooms and then decluttering. And I think it's fair to say, Helen, you had no problem whatsoever making decisions. Do you know what I mean? So you were like, once you were on the decluttering route, you were like, okay, this is it, I can make the decisions. Did you feel that those decisions were easy?
So I'm quite thorough really. So I'm a very fast shopper, and when it comes to decluttering, I know I think what happens why my house kind of gets cluttered is because of time. So I'm very lucky. I've got a very enjoyable job. I work on social media, and I have got a lovely job, but I actually don't stop working. So I'm always working every day. So that becomes a priority for me. And then obviously my children, and then say, for example, we're always traveling. We don't travel as much now, because I was used to be back and forth like a yo-yo to London. I'd go to London sometimes 3 times a week and be back and back with a suitcase. Because if that's where the work was, I'd just take it. And then obviously they would go back and forth sometimes from their dads, who lives in Bath. So then you'd get suitcases and stuff, and then I wouldn't have time to unpack them. And then you know what kids are like, toddlers, they just leave mess everywhere. And then before I know it, I'd look around and be like, my house is a bomb site. Like, how has this happened? I'm definitely not lazy. I'm like, I never ever stop. But sometimes it's more of a timing thing for me, where I actually just go, oh, I haven't had the time to prioritize decluttering. And even now, sometimes I go to myself, I really need to prioritize that, especially this week. I need to do a day where I actually do like a decluttering day. Without sounding spoiled, because obviously I do like think I'm a relatable person. I do think I'm a down to earth person, but you know, I do have a little help. Like once a week, I do have a lady that cleans for me, which is a massive help to me. But it's almost the decluttering. A cleaner can't actually put away or organize through your stuff because it's personal stuff sometimes, like your bills, like the kids' stuff, like sometimes the clothes. You actually have to take the time out to do that, which is sometimes I find really difficult when you've got to prioritize a job or work. So if my agent says to me, "Oh, Helen, I've got a job for you," you know, I have to take it because, you know, I have to prioritize more. But sometimes you do have to take a step back and be like, wow, like I really need to have a day of like organize, like decluttering. And sometimes what I do, which sounds really bad, is like if I'd go from say if I've been to London and then I need to go away to, I don't know, Scotland, and then I would just get a bag and then put all the other stuff that I've had in because I don't have time to deal with it right now. And then I'd have random bags of clutter just sat there and it would be so annoying. And then
They've got a name, those, Helen. They've got a name. They're called sweep bags.
Sweet bags.
Yeah,
Really?
sweep bags. Like you sweep everything into a bag.
Oh, I got loads of sweet bags, loads of them. And then I would kind of just like do that. And then, but then I would, because I think as well, I mean, I do have ADHD. And I would do stupid stuff, like sometimes put a key in there or something really random that I need. You know, so I think definitely, I think when you've got ADHD, I mean, I think when you've got an ADHD as well, it can be like a superpower, because I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like it helps with my work because my brain never rests. So I think it can make me productive in lots of ways. And I think it can, I think it's definitely, I think that I've got ADHD. I think it really helps me in a lot of ways because maybe you think more outside the box, or maybe you kind of see things more differently, or maybe it makes you more creative or what have you. But I'm not as like logic, and I don't I find it very hard sometimes to organize because I will get bored very easily. So
Yeah.
doing organising a room and I'm like, oh, what's this? I'm not doing this for ages.
Yeah,
I think I've been for ages, which I really like when the clutter fairies come around, because, you know, it'll be like, right, okay, we've got this time slot and let's do it together. And that'll keep my focus more, because I struggle sometimes a little bit more with focus, where, say, for example, the other day I was with Karen from the Clutter Fairies and we were sorting out my bra drawer. Like, usually I'm very good at like parting with things. But if I didn't have Karen with me, I would have looked at all these bras and just got so overwhelmed that I've been like, you know what, I'm not doing this. I can't deal with it, you know? It's too much for me. That, well, you know, like I feel like when I've got Karen with me for the clutter fairy, she'll be like, right, come on, like we'll do this and do that, and it's just a lot easier and better. And then she'll be like, right, okay, look at all this massive bag here we've got for charity, and it's just better for me. And especially when I haven't got the time and energy, because when I'm working so much, it's just, yeah.
I think the thing that always struck me, Helen, because what happened at first was because the whole house needed to be done and we needed to kind of get some order in the place for you, we kind of brought a big team in at first, didn't we? All worked in different areas and things like that, and put some order into it. What struck me at the time is, you know, like, you know, you're being hard on yourself there, because you know, you had Charlie was only like 6 months old, and so Matilda and Delilah were like, I don't know, 3 and 5, I don't know, 6, something like that. What's the difference in age between them?
So I love my age difference with my children. So there was like this 3-year age gap between all of them. So Charlie was 6 months, Delilah would have been 3, and Matilda would have been 6.
Yeah.
So
and it's a lot, and you were dealing with those while Scott was at work during the day, and obviously had a high profile position that he needed to do. So you were kind of managing all the household.
Yeah.
And then what sort of struck me then is, like you say, with your job, you don't know what the week's going to look like at the beginning of the week. It can change. You know, something might come in and you might have to respond straight away, right? And so
it works really well for me with having ADHD, because I love that. I love the fact that, oh, this week, what's this week going to be? You know, I really enjoy that. But yeah, I think it's interesting having different. I don't have the brain, I don't think, for organize, but I'm great in other things. But you know, organization, I don't think like is my thing. So I have to kind of like, and as a mom as well of 3, you have to be organized. Like, it's all like their school uniforms, all their clubs, everything but I do feel like when you are organized, it does make you feel better about yourself, and you feel like, I think it's really good for your mental health as well. Decluttering, I remember, I think it was this time last year, I wasn't very well. I had a bad reaction to my ADHD medication, so I was absolutely heartbroken because I couldn't do a theatre tour. I was devastated, and I couldn't work for that time. So a lot of things, what I did is I did like lots of exercise, and I did a lot of like decluttering because I felt like it was good for my mind as well.
Yeah.
And that was a really nice thing for me to do. But yeah, I definitely feel like decluttering as well, it's really good for your mental health. And I think when you kind of declutter something and then you see it look lovely after, you feel like you've achieved something, and it's good for you.
So talk to me about, talk to me about your ADHD a little bit more. So because obviously it's all about getting those strategies in place, really, isn't it? And trying to work with them. So you see it as a fantastic thing. Absolutely. It is for so many people, and that creativity and that spontaneity and all of those things, absolutely fantastic. But it does come with other things like hyper focus, like getting distracted all the time, all of those kind of things that anybody with ADHD can relate to. But it's really about, obviously, you've got medication. You said you had a bad reaction to that, which is hard as well. My son was on the podcast a few weeks ago because he's got ADHD as well, talking about his meds and how he takes it on some days and doesn't take it on other days. And that was quite an interesting podcast if anybody's not listened to it already. But what sort of strategies do you feel that since you worked out, when were you diagnosed, Helen, if you don't mind me asking, with ADHD?
16, I was diagnosed with ADHD.
Right.
At Coronation Street, and I think, I don't think I was like a joy for my mum as a teenager.
Who is a joy at 16?
Definitely wasn't, but I was definitely. So yeah, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 16. But my brother also has ADHD. It's just and that's in my family. I don't see it as like as a bad thing as well. I would never change, ADHD at all or what have you. But yeah, I think it's just those kind of things. Like, say for example, I'll tell you what, like I end up collecting like parking tickets for fun. And, I've got all the intentions for paying them, but then I'll forget because I'm busy with the kids. Do you know what I mean? So then I'll have to go, so sometimes what I do actually, sometimes the clutter phase is do like paperwork.
Yeah.
But like with paperwork, I find it all a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'll I'm very good at paying my bills, but when it comes to like paperwork and stuff, sometimes I find that like a little bit more overwhelming going through stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like kind of paperwork stuff. Well, like large.
How's your time management, Helen? So do you think that you have got something where you're like, right, I've got to use a timer, look at a clock on the wall? Have you got any of those sort of standard ADHD strategies that you use to try and keep yourself on track, or do you just go with the flow a little bit?
I kind of just I never stop. I'm always productive with my day. I kind of write a lot in my like notes and stuff. But yeah, I just know, obviously, yourself as a busy working mum, there's always, things to do. Stick a lot in the fridge to remind me of things. But yeah, no, it's, I think just being like a mum and a working as women, and we never stop. There's always something to think about, isn't there?
Exactly. Right, let's pop to a break, Helen, and we'll come back in a moment and we shall carry on talking about your home and how it's changed since working with the Clutter Fairies. So, welcome back, Helen. Thank you so much for being so open and honest about your home, your house moves, your ADHD. I'm interested to know what's changed. So you've been working with us for 3 or 4 years. Obviously, the house is hopefully less cluttered than it was before. You've let go of a lot of stuff. How does that feel? And what is still a struggle for you in terms of, keeping on track of your home?
Well, at the moment, I definitely need to have a day where I am doing a decluttering day. But it's something that really helps. We did this, I think it was a few months ago, was the garage. So I have a big garage, and it had lots of unpacked boxes, from mine and Scott's stuff. So yeah, that was just like a lot to kind of go through. But yeah, obviously, sadly, me and Scott separated, which was really hard. I think it was about a year after being in the house. So that can be tricky. And I think kind of obviously there's some stuff here, some stuff that he has. But it's nice now because we have like a nice relationship. and we get on now, which is nice. And he went yesterday because he'd seen the kids and stuff. So yeah, so there's still stuff of his that he needs to go through, but I've gone through everything of like the children's and everything of mine and all that kind of thing. But yeah, gosh, it's crazy that I've actually worked with the clutter fairies for as long as I have.
I know.
Yeah, I definitely use
But the house has changed a lot as well, Helen. You know, you've had lots of renovations done.
Yeah.
You've got that wonderful, wonderful dressing room. If no one's seen it on Helen's socials, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like a dressing room to die for. Karen's like, yeah, I think I'll just go and do the dressing room again. And she loves it in there.
Yes.
And you've got that wonderful utility room. Talk to us about your utility room.
Yeah, so I've got a beautiful like pink utility, which I absolutely love. But yeah, no, I kind of like got it designed. And when I was designing it, I'm sure that I spoke to you about how to do, like how I would like design it and stuff. And because there was just like kind of like mess everywhere. But yeah, it actually makes me sad that I'm going to be leaving this house soon because I actually put so much effort into it. Because when we moved, I put like a lot of my savings into like doing the house up and stuff and making it look really beautiful. The room that I'm in now, like the dining room that I'm in, I mean, this was actually the house that we're in. It's like in a beautiful village in Lancashire. But it's a big house. It's an 8-bedroomed house, which is obviously really hard to keep on top of.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel really lucky to live here and well, soon to have lived here because it is gorgeous, but it's a lot to like keep on top of. So yeah, the dining room here, this is I think the original owners built it as like an annex for like their parents, and it didn't even have like any flooring in it or anything. It was just like concrete. So yeah. Like a lovely dining room, which is great because my kids use it all the time, like for their tutoring and for their homework, and I use it all the time, like for work. And then the playroom as well, which is a great thing because my kids would just have so many toys. Where originally, when we were just renting so much, we never had a playroom. You know, it was just kind of toys all over the lounge and what have you. So it was really nice to have the space. I think I'm going to struggle to obviously when I do, because obviously I will be downsizing so much. I think it will feel from living in such, I really want this to make me sound really down to earth because I am, I don't want it to make me sound a certain way, but I think because I've been living in a house that has been big, and then it will feel weird. Obviously, I'll get used to it, I'm sure, but it will feel weird to kind of downsize everything because I'm going to have to get rid of so much more. Because, for example, like all my beautiful furniture that I've bought, it's designed for this house. It won't fit in my new house, which will fine. I think it'll be better for me, actually, to be honest with you, to live in a small house because I think it might be more manageable for me.
Yeah, you have to make different choices, won't you? I think, but I mean, I think you'll definitely still need you. So I mean, I remember one of the things that we did early doors was put that lovely playroom in for the kids, wasn't we? And we just, just put Kallaxes in and all that kind of stuff, and it was a bit of a game changer, wasn't it, for the kids and everything?
Yeah,
in that room.
It was, but I definitely need to. I will obviously be downsizing. So, say for example, like even the sofa that I have, it's a really massive sofa.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna sell everything actually privately, like on my Instagram and stuff, because the furniture I've all bought and it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
But it won't fit into I haven't chosen my new house, so I'm not too sure. This is the thing. My brain is always goes a million miles an hour. Like I don't actually know where I want to live, Lesley.
Right.
I'm not too sure because I'm living obviously like my hometown in Lancashire, but I don't know where I actually want to live. I've always wanted to live in London. I think it would be amazing for work, but then I think it's just like it's such a price difference as well living in London, and it's but it would be amazing for work. But then I don't know if I'm best, because it's not that far and the trains just keep commuting. But I kind of feel like I want a fresh break. I don't know if I kind of want to stay in my hometown. I feel like I want like a change because, even everything's great now. It's been a really kind of quite a heavy few years for me. But in a way, I was kind of sad at the thought of leaving this house, but I think it will be a really lovely fresh change and fresh.
Yeah, I think that'll be amazing. And, I think it's just important, the furniture and things like that, Helen. Yes, you're going to have to probably downsize that if your rooms are smaller, but always be focused on the storage that you've got in your new home, because you definitely need that, because you need that for, you've got three young kids still, under 10, right? Delilah's still under 10, right, is she? Yeah.
Matilda.
Matilda. I was getting confused which way around there.
Hilda is 9. Yeah.
9, right. So there's
Yeah.
still got that abundance of toys, and that will go down over time. But I think you definitely need that. And the sofa's a sofa, and then everything will just get shrunken a little bit in size. And obviously because of the work that you do, you need space for your clothes and stuff like that. So those are the things that you need to prioritize. But it'll be an exciting move, and people just make different choices. You just make different choices with your stuff. If you can spread out, you can obviously make a different choice with your things. And if you're in an 8-bedroom house and a 4-bedroom house, it's going to be different. So, but I think it's exciting, and it's probably one that you're ready for, and we'd love to be a part of that, as well as the clutter fairies. I'm sure we'll make sure those boxes are packed properly this time for you, Helen, so you can unpack properly at the other end, wherever you are.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yeah, I've kind of got an idea of maybe where I'd want to live, but I kind of say to my friends, like, I just don't want to put too much pressure on myself to have the answer of where I want to move to. Obviously, I've got a lovely boyfriend, and he's from Liverpool, and he has 2 children as well. So I don't know. I don't know where I want to live. I think as well, though, I'm very kind of like, obviously I need to think what's obviously what's best for the kids, but also what's best for work as well. So
yeah,
I'm kind of like trying to like figure it all out, really. Yeah. And
because I think so, I'm sorry, Helen, go ahead.
I think it's my mind as well. I kind of think like, oh, I'll move here, I'll move that, and it just takes a while. But I know that the right decision, like kind of like, will come to me,
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting thing. I remember when, because my husband's worked in London, I'm obviously up here in Manchester. My husband's worked in London for 20 years, and there was a time when he wanted to be up near the family and he wanted to move up to Manchester. But the problem is up here, any work in the north, then you've got to travel from to Glasgow to Edinburgh to Newcastle. It's like 4 hours at a time. And so, but once he was in London, he could go from client to client, 3 or 4 in a day. Do you know what I mean? Because it's all so close. And so that kind of, that spontaneous part of your work where you've got to drop everything and go to London, that'll just be part of your daily routine and much more easy for you to manage if you are in London as well. So, that might mean that the days are a little bit more set, and do you know what I mean? Because as soon as you add traveling into the mix, then it's just more time, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think kind of like how I've managed really and also I don't know really what to kind of come up with, because I suppose I am a single mom, but I don't really see that as well, because me and Scott co-parent, so we parent together. But I think because with his job, he obviously lives like 5 hours away, so really he comes and sees the children like whenever possible, but he is working away. So really, obviously with me, I've got the children probably more like 90% of the time. So how I've really managed to do that, I did have a nanny at the beginning, but it just got it's really expensive having time. So my mum really stepped in to help me, and I'm very, very lucky for my mum. But my mum said she'd move into the Lake District soon.
Oh, really?
I love my mum. She's amazing with my kids. Like, she's an unbelievable grandma, but she did say, her and my dad, like, my dad's worked so hard and my dad wants to retire. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm thinking, I get a lot of support here from my mum, but she did say, look, if you stay around here, I can come and visit you and stuff. So I kind of think in London, I won't have that support from my mum as much, but I do, which I need for work. But Scott's mum is brilliant, and she lives in Bath. So, well, I say Bath, it's actually Bath, but
it's all right, Helen, I say Bath, so you're okay.
So I kind of feel like if I did move down south, I would be near a Scots mum as well. So I'm just going to see. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself. I'm just going to see what happens, where I want to live. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think I think it's exciting that you've got those opportunities there. You can make choices, which is fantastic. It's all really positive. But I think that from a sort of what we do realize then, when you've got a family, when you've got all these choices to make, when you're going through life's transitions, it always comes back to home, where home is, managing the stuff in your home and planning for that. And so I think, and if you can get help to help you through these transitions, then it's always going to be a positive thing. And now that you've got the clutter fairies or to help you with that, to make it a little bit more seamless than it was before.
Definitely. I know the only thing is with house moves as well, is it's like, when it's just you, it's fine, you can, but when you've got 3 children to think about, she's going to be going to secondary school now. So wherever I move, it's not just as easy as yeah, I'll move here. This is what I want to do. I've got to think, right, no, I've got to think of Matilda and the right school for Matilda.
Yeah.
And what's going to be the best fit for her, and how is she going to be happy this way. And then I've got to think about Delilah for a primary school, and then Charlie, and then everything, because the school that they're in at the moment is amazing, their primary school. So, it's all, I think when you're a mum as well, it's not as easy as, you've always got to put your children first, and think what's best for them. It's never easy, is it?
So before we go, Helen, Reset Your Home, our brand new book. I sent you a copy. You've read it. What did you think?
I absolutely love it. And I think as well for me as well, because I've got ADHD, I kind of struggle to kind of read books, but it's an easy read, isn't it? And
Yeah.
everything's kind of broken down to kind of like manageable chunks. And yeah, it's got like great advice, especially with me because I struggle with my organisation. So yeah, I absolutely loved it.
And everything that you've learned from the Clutter Fairies in one volume, in 13 chapters, Helen. It's all in there. So, but yeah, I'm sure you still prefer to have Karen rather than the book, though, right?
Yeah, no, I love Karen. Yeah. As well, I kind of feel like with the Clutter Fairies as well is, all really lovely ladies. Genuinely, I'm not just saying that I've come to the house, and I kind of felt, you never kind of feel like embarrassed if the house is a bit of a mess, or you don't kind of feel like judged or anything like that, which is nice. Really nice women that care and just want to help, which is lovely.
I think people get a bit nervous sometimes about professional organisers and think that A, you're there just to chuck stuff out, which is absolutely not the case, and B, are going to judge you. But what I always say is, like, if you don't have like clutter and chaos, then we don't have a job, because that's what we do and that's what we love to do. And if we started judging our clients, then we would just be on a hide into nothing. I think we're just there to emotionally support anybody through life's transitions, really. And everybody in the Clutter Fairy and most professional organisers just love their job, really, because we can make a difference to anybody. So it's just really nice, and that's what I love about having written the book as well, because not everybody has got access to a professional organiser, and so the book really takes people step by step through kind of the thinking side of it, the emotional side of it, and the practical side of doing as well. So thank you so much for reading it and being so kind, Helen. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Helen, for your time, for your energy, and for sharing your transitions through life, your struggles with clutter, and your ADHD. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much